You're listening to the Electronic Media Collective Podcast Network. Yeah, it's a mouthful. For more great shows like the one you're about to enjoy, visit electronicmediacollective.com. And now, our feature presentation.
This is Storm Thomas.
Hey everybody, this is Mike Rotunda, also known as IRS, Erwin Shyster, formerly with WWF.
I am the unsolved mystery JT Energy.
This is Lars Metzger.
This is Almighty Christopher Daniel.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your golden boy, Bryce Jordan.
This is the world's greatest pop icon, Donnie Pepper Cricket, sometimes known as the Dundee Strangler, Brandon Juarez.
Hey everybody, this is Rip Studwell.
Hello everybody, it's Ethan Everhart.
What is up, wrestling world? This is the resident rock star of Impact Pro Wrestling, Adam Love. Woo!
It's the Cornbelt Cowboy, the one called Manders, and you're listening to Shotgun Wrestling Radio.
Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Shotgun Wrestling Radio. I'm your host, Zach Takes, and right now we are bringing you the Central Empire Wrestling Preview Show. I can't do that as good as our boy Jeff Alexander can, but guess what? You'll be able to see him do it even better Saturday night in Oskaloosa, because we are back better than ever for the first show for Central Empire Wrestling for 2024. Central Empire Wrestling, and I have the one and only Mr. Clint Dye from Tag Team Photography here to join me this week to talk about the show, talk about what we're going to see, break it all down, because we have an absolutely massive show. Clint, how you doing, my friend? Are you ready for to return to Oskaloosa? It's been a minute for us.
Yes, sir. I mean, the last CEW show was the 4th of July show last year in Clinton, which is always a fun one, but a lot of things coming out of Bridge City Slam kind of changed a little bit of the landscape of everything, and we didn't get to have our show in January because of old Mother Nature, so looking ready for what'll be a good show. Austin updated that the tickets are selling pretty good, so it's sounding like it's going to be a good crowd too.
Yeah, which is awesome. Again, weather should not be an issue this time around, which is going to be even better. And yeah, as Austin Bayless had posted earlier today, front row tickets are sold out. He said there's some table seating left, and I believe there's obviously some general admission left as well. So if you want to get your tickets, head on over to Central Empire Wrestling Facebook page and click the ticket link in the event. I think it's active until probably sometime Saturday afternoon or evening, even for when they shut the pre-order down or what have you, and then we'll go from there. And of course, you can always buy tickets at the door as well, so that's definitely not going to be an issue if that's something you're worried about. But man, again, big show. Some of these matches we were supposed to have back in January at the January show, so it's kind of good to get back to them and actually have this happen this time around. We're just gonna go ahead and get right into it, though, man. One that you and I have both been looking forward to for quite some time, and we're very familiar with both of these gentlemen. We've seen them countless times. Damian Saint versus the Death Dealer.
Yeah, it's a grudge match, but it's not like a hatred. You know, we've seen them wrestle each other outside of CEW before, and every time it's hard hitting and they hold nothing back, but it doesn't ever seem to get personal or heated. But they both gave, promos this week, pumped up for this match. So they're going to write a symphony of violence is what I kind of compared their matches to. And so they're good dance partners together, and they bring the violence, and I think they're going to have a little hard-hitting affair on Saturday come here in Oskaloosa.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, man. I think, when you look at these two individuals here, I think you have two of the hardest-hitting folks that you'll see here in the Midwest when it comes to both Saint and the Death Dealer. And again, Death Dealer, of course, is no stranger to Central Empire Wrestling. And again, neither is Damian Saint. Damian Saint probably had the match of the year for CEW last year with Jared Thumb at Bridge City Slam, and that tremendous hardcore matchup, which you can catch over on the Central Empire Wrestling YouTube page. And yeah, again, Damian Saint's just going to be looking to continue this role he's been on here in the Midwest as of late. He's been getting out there every weekend here as of late, man. I mean, Damian's been a bit of a workhorse, and Death Dealer's been getting out there too, but I feel like Damian's got got his feet a little bit more wet this year compared to what the Death Dealer has. So I'm going to be curious to see if our good friend, the Death Dealer, there might have some a little bit of ring rust that he's going to be dealing with.
Well, and both of them are wrestling with a lot of confidence right now. You talked to Damian Saint numerous times. His confidence is at an all-time high with what he's doing. And Death Dealer, he knows who he is. He knows what he brings to the table. So I don't think he's going to have much ring rust once the bell rings. I think they're going to really engage in quite the fight just to, come out and try and prove who the better man is once again. And a lot of confidence going into it, which is going to make for an even better match when they step in the ring together.
Yeah, it really is. I'm curious to see where both of these guys go from here. Again, I know Saint was telling me this past weekend when I talked to him how excited he is for that, and he was actually telling me too he's hoping to get his hands on the Death Dealer's chain. So I'm curious to see what Saint has up his sleeve for this one, because I think it's going to be an absolute barn burner between these two. I mean, I'm just really looking forward to this one. Especially we've seen both of these guys wrestle countless times for CEW, and I'll be curious too, man. Again, Jared and Saint have had quite a history together. I'll be curious to see if that kind of continues even on Saturday. Does Jared have an eye out for Saint or during this matchup too? And later on in the night, I know Jared's in action, so both of those guys are going to be in the building again. I'm just going to be curious to see if we're going to be able to keep those two away from each other Saturday night.
You nailed it on the head. Some rivalries just don't die. I mean, those two have been battling back and forth since the COVID years and Power Slam, when CEW did Power Slam, just the filmed on location, select guys. They've been feuding since then. And like you mentioned last year at Bridge City Slam, they stole the show with their match, which was what they set out to do. And now, Jared's always going to be looking over his shoulder because Damien's such a wild card. You never know what that guy's going to do. So I could, some rivalries just don't die. That's for sure.
That's for damn true, man. That's for damn true. And another piece of news we got here earlier this week from the Central Empire Wrestling management team there of Austin Bayless woke up one of the days this week and had quite the photographic flyer, so to speak, from one and only Jackson King. Jackson King is going to be making an appearance, and we saw what happened at Bridge City when he kind of basically did the same thing, more or less. He went out there and went on our live podcast and did a rant and got the crowd really fired up at him, and was able to actually get his way onto the show last year against Mr. Brian Gott. And I'll be curious to see what's in store for Jackson King this coming Saturday, because man, that Oskaloosa crowd, they're a little bit different from what we saw in Ottumwa, and I just think it's going to be a pretty hostile environment when Jackson King steps on the mic there. I think it's going to be pretty hostile. I'm curious to see what Jeff Alexander and Austin Bayless have up their sleeve for Mr. Jackson King.
Well, I mentioned the word confidence talking about Damian Saint and the Death Dealer, but is there anyone that we know right now in all the promotions that we go to and we see, is there anyone with as much confidence in what he's able to do as Jackson King? I don't think there is. The guy he knows how good he is, and that makes him a very dangerous person. And he found a way to get on Bridge City Slam, and then he made a fan out of a bunch of CW fans, and I say that in jest because they did not like him. They wanted to see him get punched in the mouth, but I think once they did see him wrestle, they saw just how good he really is. So he is brash, he is cocky, but the guy backs it up when he steps in between the ring. And then he has the kickboxing background as well, which gives him a little more legitimacy too. So he's going to be walking in a hostile crowd, but he thrives in that kind of environment. And I'm excited to see what exactly the Lone Diamond does Saturday night here in Oskaloosa for sure.
Yeah, and again, we have some new debuting talent coming in on Saturday. I mean, we got returning talent. There is no shortage of people who he could end up facing too. So if he's not, careful in how he approaches this Saturday when he steps in to Oskaloosa on Saturday night, I'll be curious to see. There's going to be somebody itching to step up to the challenge.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's what I'm curious to see. You'll see Jackson King this coming Saturday night in Oskaloosa, Iowa. If you haven't gotten your tickets yet, head over to Central Empire Wrestling's Facebook page, click the ticket link. It's probably going to be in one of the most recent Facebook posts. It's not going to be hard to find at all, that's for sure. So again, I just mentioned, Clint, we got debuting talent coming up here for Central Empire Wrestling, and this debuting tag team I had the privilege of speaking with earlier this week on Shotgun Wrestling Radio, talking about Eric Esnay and Malik Champion going up against Donnie Pepper Cricket and the Iceman for the CEW tag team titles. And as we know, the Iceman and Donnie Pepper Cricket just won the titles here back at Bridge City Slam, so they're looking basically for their first time, one of the first times they've defended the title.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting for sure. It's a generational, matchup in this one. You got Donnie and Iceman, obviously veterans of the game, champions anywhere they've been. They won the titles at Bridge City Slam, finally dispatching Big and Ripped and getting the titles around their shoulders. And, they're always confident. They know what they can do. The fans love them. CEW fans absolutely love Donnie and the Iceman. So they're going to get a hero's welcome for sure Saturday. But standing across the ring is two young guys that I've seen quite a bit. And they've been successful where they've been. They've tagged together for a while. So this isn't any kind of slouch team coming in to face the champs. The champs are going to have a match, a fight in front of them as Knight and Malik Champion, the chosen prodigal sons as they're known. They're full of confidence as well, and they are not going to back down from a fight. So this match is going to be a good one. I think it's going to really kind of set the tone for the tag division in CEW going forward.
Yeah, I agree with you. When I talked to them earlier this week, Eric and Malik, I walked away very, very impressed with both of them. I thought they were both just very well spoken. I told them when we got done with the interview, I was like, I felt like we barely scratched the surface of the interview. I felt like we could have easily gone on longer. And I feel like we barely scratched the surface of what they were able to do. And again, just what we talked about. Again, if you want to watch that interview, head over to the Shotgun Wrestling Radio page and check that out. That'll be the most recent interview on our YouTube page, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get all your podcasts as well. So I thank those guys a lot for coming on the show here earlier this week. But I'm excited to see these guys get introduced to the CEW crowd as well. I think both of these guys are going to bring in a lot of heart, because I know they know as debuting talent, especially for a company like CEW, that they have a lot to prove stepping into this.
Well, yeah, and back to it was a great interview you had with them. You like you said, you've scratched the surface of what they bring to the table. They're trained at Black and Brave Academy, and they train down in Texas, and they're talented guys. They're very talented guys, and they're going to rub the CEW crowd the wrong way as well. I can guarantee that. They're very unique in their personalities when they're in the ring, and it's going to be interesting to see how the fans react to them. But back to Donnie and Iceman, two veterans, they're going to have their own strategy. They're going to have their own game plan. So it's going to come down to whose strategy works best, the young lions or the veterans, with the straps. So it makes for a unique matchup between two teams that are pretty confident in rolling with what they do. So
yeah, I'm excited for this one. Again, like you said, the crowd, just especially the CEW crowd, just absolutely loves the Iceman and Donnie Pepper Cricket, whether that's singles matchup or whether that's tag team matchup. Those guys are just well loved in Central Empire Wrestling. So I think it's safe to say for Eric and Malik, they're going to be going in here with a hostile environment for them. I think is probably the appropriate way to say it.
Yep, I agree fully. And they're like Jackson King, they'll thrive in that kind of environment that kind of pushes them to keep pushing harder and push the envelope as much as they can. So it's going to be fans cheering for Donnie and Iceman, and majorly against the chosen prodigal sons for sure.
Now, another thing that we have coming up here on Saturday night, which again, we don't know who it's going to be. It could be another one of these debuting individuals, but we have Jared Dunn, who just before we went on the air here, posted a promo video for this upcoming matchup that he has on Saturday night. So if you would like to check that out, again, head over to either Jared Thumb's YouTube Facebook page or the CEW YouTube Facebook page. You'll be able to find it, and he is more than ready for this, as Jared's gonna have a mystery match, basically, where he's going to be going up against Axel Grease's newest client. And again, we don't know who it's going to be. It's a complete mystery to you. It's a complete mystery to me. But again, Jared has to be feeling pretty damn good, because like I mentioned earlier, he's coming into this knowing he probably had the match of the year for CEW last year against Damian Saint. So already he's going to have just a boatload of confidence as he's coming in to our first show of 2024.
2023 was a big year for Jared in CEW for sure. He was that close to qualifying for the Bridge City Slam main event championship match. Lost because that old Damian Saint, the brief distraction. Then he went and took care of business at Bridge City Slam, dispatched Damian Saint. And then at the 4th of July show, he wrestled not once, but twice. He wrestled once to start the match against Jameson McGregor, and then he ended the day against Rory Fox. Because JT with the cut eye. We'll get into more of that later, I'm sure. But Jared, he's been on a roll. There's nobody hotter in CEW right now than Jared. And Axel Grease, last time we saw him, his clients lost the tag team titles. So he's been stewing away trying to formulate a plan how he's going to take his people back to the top of the company he's lived in for years and years. So it'll be interesting to see. I don't know what Axel Grease has got planned, who he's bringing in, but I'm sure it'll be a formidable foe for Jared Thumb, but Jared will probably be up for the challenge. He's ready to fight anybody and anywhere and anytime. So it'll be unique to see how he handles not knowing who his opponent will be.
Yeah, for sure. And again, one thing that you have to watch out for when you're dealing with a guy like Axel Grease, if it's an Axel Grease client, that means Axel Grease will be at ringside, which means the crowd is just going to absolutely go bonkers at him. But that also means Axel is very distracting when it comes to being at the ring.
Oh yeah.
So that's something, and I know Jared's familiar with being in matches that have involved Axel Grease, so I know he's going to be prepared for that. But anytime you have Axel Grease involved, it's just usually not a good recipe for ever one of Axel Grease's clients is facing.
Very true indeed.
So moving on down the line here. Again, this is all going down at Saturday night, Oskaloosa, Iowa. If you want tickets for this show, head on over to the Central Empire Wrestling Facebook page. You'll see the ticket link. Front row seats are sold out. I think Austin said we had about 8 table seats left. So if you would like to sit at a table, those are still available as well. And of course, general admission, as always, is available as well. So get your tickets online or get them at the door Saturday night as well. I believe the tickets do go up in price a little bit the day of the show at the door, though. So your best bet is to get the tickets early. So, and then another thing that we saw today before we kind of hopped on here, man. It was announced earlier this week as well that we are going to see another debuting superstar. I know somebody that you're probably more familiar with than I am. We're talking about the debut of Augustus Draven, and he actually just really launched a promo video that was very creepy. It gave me the chills. I'm curious. I'm not too familiar with Augustus Draven, so I'm curious to see what we're going to see with this guy. Again, I know you're more familiar with him than I am, but just watching that preview, that promo video before we came on here, woo!
Yeah, he's a unique character for sure. He is not afraid to get in fans' faces or photographers' faces. I know that firsthand. But he is definitely. He's unique. He's kind of bizarre, and he's very dark. So I don't know what he has planned for CEW, but I'm sure it'll be something dark for sure. So it'll be interesting to see what he does Saturday night. Another guy who's Black and Brave trained, who has a lot of experience under his belt, had ties with JT Energy at one point in time in SCW. So who knows what Augustus Draven's going to do Saturday night besides Augustus Draven. So it'll be interesting to see what goes down, but I guarantee the fans are going to give him hell as much as they can, and he will take it with him. So
yeah, well, again, I know with him coming there, as we talked about earlier, Jackson King is going to be there as well. Another person that we can talk about that's going to be there is Ethan Everhart. Ethan Everhart's going to be in the house. Either of those two guys could be formidable opponents for Augustus Draven should he choose that to be his path here Saturday evening. Another person I do want to mention that, it kind of broke all of our hearts here this past week when the news was announced. Our good friend, CEW Hall of Famer Storm Thomas, announced that fortunately he's going to have neck surgery, and it's going to put him out of action for Lord knows how long. I mean, we've seen wrestling neck injuries sometimes put guys on the shelf permanently, sometimes take them out for just a short period of time here. And yeah, man, I don't know about you, but it broke me a little bit to see that happen to Storm here when he had announced that earlier this week on his Facebook account. I was just really bummed out for the guy. Storm is still going to be in town and at the show on Saturday. So if you want to see Storm Thomas, you're still going to see him. Buy some of his merch, buy some of his whatever it is he's selling. He always does excellent merch. Come say hello to him because he is going to be there, and show the guy as much support as we can, because it's just truly heartbreaking to see what he's going to have to go through here when it comes to this surgery that he's going to have.
Well, Mother Nature took away what might have been the match of the year in CEW in January. It was scheduled to be Storm Thomas versus Ethan Everhart. When Austin announced that match, that immediately made me take notice on, oh, okay, that's a good one right there. And you and I both know how good both of them are in the ring. And Ethan being the young up and comer who's just gotten better and better everywhere he goes. Then obviously Storm Thomas, we know the legendary career he's had and what he's done with CEW. So I was so excited for that match. And then Mother Nature had other plans. And then of course Storm found out about his neck injury, and that's it's a sad thing to hear, but if there's anybody who I think can bounce back from that, it's Storm Thomas. He's a very confident guy. He's very proud of what he does and how he handles himself in the business. And I don't think we'll see the last of Storm Thomas this weekend. And I don't know exactly what Storm Thomas is going to do this weekend, because when we last saw him at Bridge City Slam, we were left with our jaws on the floor on what had happened, which we'll dive into that more. So who knows what Storm Thomas is going to have to say and what he'll do Saturday night, because he's always got something planned and always brings his best no matter what he's doing. So, and then on the flip side, Ethan Everhart, he's going to be there. He's going to be in competition. We don't know against who yet, but whoever it is better be ready to go. They better have their boots on tight and everything ready to go, because Ethan, when he goes, and there's no breaks with Ethan Everhart. He goes full gas. So it'll be interesting to see who he pairs up with.
Yeah, whenever Ethan's another guy kind of like Saint there, who's just been a road warrior since entering professional wrestling, and this year's been no different for him. But yeah, again, I just want to take a little bit of time here for our pal Storm Thomas, again, who means so much to all of us. Oh, we got a run in. Who's he? Is he coming with you Saturday night?
Yep, he'll be there. All right,
who's he looking forward to seeing?
Who you want to see, JT, Saturday night? JT Energy.
Right on. Appreciate the run in, little man. But yeah, again, just really hoping all for the best for our good buddy Storm, CEW Hall of Famer this past year. And like you said, the way he ended Bridge City Slam was just the shock heard around the world. Like it was, it left me dumbfounded there at ringside doing commentary that night. And so I was curious to see what was going to happen as we move the next step forward, and it would be it's going to be I think it's going to be emotional no matter what he does there on Saturday night, but he is going to be there, so come on out and give the man some support, because he's given a lot to CEW. I mean, like he said numerous times, he's even basically the CEW logo, so that that superstar you see, that's Storm Thomas, so you can kind of see it in the background right
there.
So,
yep.
But
like you said, he is the logo. He is the icon of CEW, I would say. Just saw Sting's big retirement match, and they always call him the icon. I think icon of CEW is pretty fitting.
Yeah.
So pretty fitting that, he's the icon. The last time we saw him, it was a little controversial. We weren't sure everything that was going on. It was kind of chaos and everything like that, but I really want to hear what he has to say, because he talked with you after Bridge City Slam and explained everything that went down, but I think there's even more to it. So I think we'll get a little bit of that Saturday. And like you said, it might be some heartfelt moments too, but it'll be interesting to see Storm again come around.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure, for sure. We got one more matchup here to talk about, and it's a big one. It's probably right now one of the most heated rivalries we have going on in Central Empire Wrestling. Basically, I would say even before last year's Bridge City Slam, and these two just do not like each other. I mean, especially after the 4th of July last year, these two do not like each other. As JT Energy has no trouble telling you, and even Rory Fox has no trouble telling you. I had both of those guys on the show here back in January. If you want to go check those interviews out to get a idea of what we're going to expect from this matchup here on Saturday night between JT Energy defending his longest reigning CEW championship against the one and only Rory Fox, and another piece to this puzzle that we have coming up on Saturday. We're debuting a new CEW title, so that's going to be something pretty dang special as well.
And new tag titles too.
New tag titles as well. So yeah, very, very much a new era, so to speak, of Central Empire Wrestling, which would be a lot of fun to see. I've only seen the pictures of the titles, and they look absolutely incredible. I'm excited to see them there in person.
Yeah, my oldest son got to hold the championships before I even did. He was hanging out with a good buddy of Austin, ours named Eddie, who owns a card shop here in town, and Austin sent me a picture. And sure enough, Aaron was holding it before I even got to see him. I was jealous, so jealous about that. But JT and Rory, the best way to describe this is just a full circle epic clash between two guys that don't like each other, two rivals. It's been such a whirlwind of a story. You go back to 2019 before Bridge City Slam 4, when JT, Jay Fowler, Rory, and I want to say, can't remember who the fourth person was, but they were fighting to see who was going to fight Jerry the King Lawler. So there was already rivalry mixed in right then and there. Then, of course, JT ended up beating Lawler and then winning the championship and becoming champion. And then we had the Power Slam era where the tag titles were a main focus of what was the rivalry. You know, it was JT and Tim Rhodes versus Jared and Rory for the tag titles. And that had its own little brouhaha going. And then Jared and Rory ended up winning the tag titles out of that. And then after that, we had Pro Power Slam Season 2, where it was all about JT's championship. And Jared and Rory were coming after it. They had a triple threat match, but that's when Damian Saint made his debut. So all these four guys are intertwined with each other in more ways than one. Then, of course, JT went on his huge run with the championship. Rory and Jared were defending the titles, but then Rory and Jared lost the titles to Damian Saint and JT Energy. Then, of course, they were vacated after Damian took some time away. But then bring it back around, and then it flipped. You know, the fans started supporting JT Energy after so many years of hating him, and he hated them. But then eventually they all kind of, they came together and they supported him. Well, Rory Fox turned everything on its head at Bridge City Slam last year. Basically said, stick it to the fans and interrupt the main event. And he zeroed in right on JT Energy, you know. So the hunger for that championship, I think, got to be too much for Rory Fox. And he realized he wasn't going to get there smiling and being a good guy, babyface to the fans and letting them know that he loved them, everything like that. He had to find something in him that you knew all too well. You've mentioned it many a times about the hashtag not my champion, Rory Fox. And that was always there, just waiting to come back up. And we're seeing it now. Rory Fox has that attitude that he's going to come in and do whatever it takes. And JT Energy's, he's out for a little bit of revenge from 4th of July when he got busted open. So lots of stakes here. The deck is high for this one for sure.
Yeah, I remember, you know, you have that excellent photo that you took of JT just kind of right after that that punch from Rory happened at the 4th of July show and just kind of busted him completely open. I know he said he still has the scars from that because he had to go get stitches, and I know that scene in particular caused quite a bit of chaos behind the scenes for Central Empire Wrestling that day because it was already kind of a small enough crew, and you take away one of your main events, well, stuff has to get reshuffled. And yeah, I know JT wasn't necessarily thrilled about it, and I know Rory was obviously thrilled about it, but I'm a little. It almost feels like this matchup could have been a non-sanctioned matchup because I'm actually kind of surprised, especially after what happened at the 4th of July, that Austin and company were okay sanctioning this one for Central Empire Wrestling, because this one I feel like could get out of hand and just become an all-out brawl between these two.
The animosity is definitely high between these two, and it's warranted animosity. Like you said, JT got busted open, and something switches when that happens. And on the flip side, Rory couldn't have been more proud of what he did to the champ. So it's two bulls colliding for sure. We haven't really had a personal rivalry like this since, I would say, when Jared and or not Jared, Donnie and Sean Nautilus.
Yes. Yep.
That got heated quickly. And I think this one is even maybe a notch above that just because of the history there between them and the rivalry that it is.
Yeah, absolutely. So, well, I think that's going to kind of wrap things up for us here. Again, this is all going down on Saturday night in Oskaloosa. For more information, head over to Central Empire Wrestling's Facebook page. Front row tickets are sold out. There's about 8 table seats left if you want to sit at a table. And then there's general admission seats still available. You can get tickets at the door or get them ahead of time online. I think until sometime Saturday is when the online ticket sales get shut down. But man, Clint, thanks for joining me here on the preview show this week. It's been a lot of fun, and again, I'm ready to get back to Oskaloosa, man. It's been a minute for us.
Always a great time talking to you, Zach. Can't wait for Saturday to see you and see you in action doing your commentary. So
absolutely. And hey, before we go, where can people follow your work at, man? People that might not be familiar, where can they follow you?
On Facebook, it's Tag Team Photography Dye, and then same as Instagram, and then Twitter, it's just CDye56, or X. I guess it's not Twitter anymore. So
yeah, we call it Twitter. It's
connected.
Fine.
I have everything connected in each one. So.
Excellent. Give Clint a follow if you're not following some of the best wrestling photography you'll see in the Midwest scene right now. So, guys, until next time, we hope to see you at the show. But if we don't see you at the show, we'll see you next time right here on the World Wide Web.